Located just west of downtown and steps from Spadina and Chinatown, this neighborhood is walking distance to the city center, yet it feels like it's in a world of its own. Many Toronto neighborhoods have a distinct character and charm, but Kensington stands out from the rest with its vibrant colors, vibrant people, and its eclectic shops and food. Historically, what made this neighborhood a popular spot for enterprising immigrants was the affordability of both the homes and the retail space. And today, the lack of affordability, driven by a new wave of businesses, restaurants, and developers, threatens the future of Kensington Market. As real estate and rent continues to climb, it's forcing people and businesses out, some of which have been there for a long time, and it's threatening to change Kensington Market into just another regular neighborhood. But there's hope. Members of the community have banded together to resist this gentrification, and they've had some success. But how long can they hold out? After all, change is inevitable, and this Toronto neighborhood has changed drastically from what it once was at the turn of the century. Kensington Market actually became a market in the early 1900s. Jewish immigrants began moving into the area and setting up shops that served the cultural needs of their fellow community members. At that time in Toronto, the population was predominantly Anglo and Protestant, and immigrants were mostly excluded from activities that could lead to any advancement up the societal ladder. So the Jewish population had to fend for themselves, and they did, and they thrived. In the late 1800s, Jewish immigrants who were driven out of Europe and Russia by anti-Semitic persecution landed in Toronto and established roots in the Ward, which is located where City Hall is today. It was here that they found affordable housing, but it was terrible conditions. Here they also found other immigrants from their homeland, and they found work within the community. Due to the poor living conditions and overcrowding of the ward, the Jewish population began moving west towards Kensington Market, and with them they brought the community spirit that developed in the ward, their skills and craftsmanship developed in the needle trade, and their entrepreneurial spirit developed from years of fending for themselves. As Jewish families moved into Kensington, they began setting up stalls in front of their homes. Many merchants converted the ground floor of their home into stores, and this tradition has been in place ever since. Still today, when you walk down Kensington Avenue, you'll find the same setup, with storefronts on the ground floor spilling out into the streets, with living quarters on the second and third floors. After World War II, the neighborhood attracted immigrants from Hungary, and Kensington Market started to develop into the multicultural and eclectic community it is today. In the 1950s, the Jewish population began to move out of the neighborhood, and a new wave of immigration saw Portuguese people settle in Kensington. Immigrants from Portugal had been immigrating to Canada since the 1800s, but thanks to a labor migration agreement between Canada and Portugal, the Toronto area saw a huge influx of Portuguese people. While the market saw a wave of new people moving into the neighborhood, the Portuguese immigrants continued the tradition of adding storefronts on the ground floor of their homes. Portuguese bakeries, grocery stores, and other retail shops began to open to serve this new community. They even developed their own newspaper in their native language. In the 1970s, vintage clothing stores began to arrive in the neighborhood, and you'll find lots of vintage clothing stores today too. Also in the 70s, Chinatown was slowly expanding westward, and today the two neighborhoods kind of blend together. While they have their distinct characteristics and geographic locations, they seem to merge together a little bit. Due to this expansion of Chinatown, Kensington saw an influx of people from China, Vietnam, and the Philippines, to name a few. Today you'll find many Chinese businesses within Kensington Market. That was an incredibly brief history of the area, but once you understand the history of this neighborhood, you start to understand how it operates today, and why its residents are so fiercely protective of it. The historical and cultural significance of this place is important to not only the residents, but to the city of Toronto too. I think Toronto and its newly elected mayor have a responsibility to ensure that neighborhoods like this don't lose their essence. They can't let real estate developers come in and tear this place apart, only to replace it with glass condos. It's sad to see so many Toronto neighborhoods turning into generic, high-rise neighborhoods with no character or nice architecture. And Kensington Market is one of the last ramparts of old world charm in the city. It's nice to see that residents are fighting so hard to keep Kensington as it is. But the question isn't whether they can stop change from happening. The question is, for how long can they stop change from happening? After all, Kensington Market has seen many changes over the years, and it will continue to evolve, just like every neighborhood inevitably does. But I think the character and the substance of the people that call it home can stay the same. The neighborhood and its buildings, the stores and eateries that occupy its retail space, they will change and evolve. But the character of the people can stay the same. Independent, self-sufficient, inviting and welcoming, open-minded, and community-focused. I think these are some of the characteristics that the residents of Kensington Market have and hold dear, and no developer or city planner can take that away from them. Oh, and definitely go on a Sunday. All this footage is from Pedestrian Sundays, which is a street festival held on the last Sunday of every month from May to October. For the full Kensington Market vibes, you have to visit when this is on. It's sensory overload. From the sounds of live music, the aromas of street food and people smoking weed, and clouds of smoke from people grilling in the streets and smoking weed, and vendors shouting, and the people. You'll see people from all walks of life here. I don't think there is a better spot in the city to people watch. There is a ton of food to choose from. Everything from barbecue to street waffles with sprinkles, it's really endless. And there's a ton of shopping too. Honestly, if you're visiting Toronto, this is a must-do. It's really a unique and fascinating place, and it's a safe place too. There's lots of kids running around and families out together. There's several parking garages located right on the edge of the neighborhood, and we had no issues getting a spot. If you're staying right downtown, you can easily walk to Kensington Market from any of the downtown hotels. It's just a couple minutes walk to Chinatown. You can easily walk to the CN Tower or the Art Gallery of Ontario. It's pretty centrally located, so it's an easy one to add to your itinerary. And it's not a huge neighborhood either, so you won't exhaust yourself exploring the area on foot. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about Ontario attractions and destinations. I recently hit 2,000 subscribers, which is super exciting. Thanks so much for the support, and I'll see you on the next video.